जय श्री श्री राधा नील माधव भगवान की। श्री श्री गौर निताय की। श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंहदेव भगवान की। श्रील प्रभुपाद की। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत पुराण की। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री गुरु और गौरांग की। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. We are reading from Canto 2, chapter number 7, and text number 19. Titled Scheduled Incarnations with Specific Functions. तुभ्यं च नारद भृशं भगवान् विवृद्ध भावेन साधु परितुष्ट उवाच योगम् ज्ञानं च भागवतम् आत्मसत् सतत्वदीपम् यद्वासुदेव शरणा विदुरञ्जसैव तुभ्यं च नारद भृशं भगवान् विवृद्ध भावेन साधु परितुष्ट उवाच योगम् ज्ञानं च भागवतम् आत्मसतत्वदीपम् यद्वासुदेव शरणा विदुरञ्जसैव तुभ्यं च नारद भृशं भगवान् विवृद्ध भावेन साधु परितुष्ट उवाच योगम् ज्ञानं च भागवतम् आत्मसतत्वदीपम् यद्वासुदेव शरणा विदुरञ्जसैव The whole process is that all living entities, being constitutionally parts and parcels of the supreme living being, the absolute personality of Godhead, have proportionately minute independence of action also. So, the preliminary qualification for entering into the devotional service of the Lord is that one become a willing cooperator. And as such, one should voluntarily cooperate with persons who are already engaged in transcendental devotional service of the Lord. By cooperating with such persons, the prospective candidate will gradually learn the techniques of devotional service. And with the progress of such learning, one becomes proportionately free from the contamination of material association. Such a purificatory process will establish the prospective candidate in firm faith and gradually elevate him to the stage of transcendental taste for such devotional service. Thus, he acquires a genuine attachment for devotional service of the Lord, and his conviction carries him on to the point of ecstasy just prior to the transcendental stage of love. Such knowledge of devotional service may be divided into two sections, namely preliminary knowledge of the nature of devotional service and the secondary knowledge of its execution. Bhagavatam is in relation with the personality of Godhead, his beauty, fame, opulence, dignity, attraction, transcendental qualities which attract one towards him for exchanges of love and affection. There is a natural affinity of the living entity for the loving service of the Lord. This affinity becomes artificially covered by the influence of material association, and Srimad Bhagavatam helps one very genuinely remove that artificial covering. Therefore, it is particularly mentioned herein that Srimad Bhagavatam acts like the lamp of transcendental knowledge. These two sections of the transcendental knowledge in devotional service become revealed to a person who is a soul surrendered unto Vasudeva. As it is stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.19. Such a great soul, fully surrendered unto the lotus feet of Vasudeva, is very, very rare. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमावों विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। With the blessings of Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhav, Shri Shri Gaunitai, Shri Lakshmi Narasimhadev, and all the Acharyas in the Parampara, Shri Prabhupada, and all the. Actually, I wanted to sit and hear Srimad Bhagavatam, but I was wanting to come yesterday. Due to my health, I could not come. And today also I was requesting Bhagavasham Prabhu. Other devotees, I can sit and hear. But due to Vaishnava's desire, and I am trying to do this service. So with Vaishnava's blessings, I would like to speak on this Srimad Bhagavatam 2.7.19. Very wonderful um, shlokas. I was just wanting to, just before in the last chapter, the last shloka, which Brahmaji is saying, very wonderful to recite, and I will. In 46th shloka of last chapter, Brahmaji is saying this, and with this mood, we will begin today's discussion. So in 2646, Brahmaji is saying, Pradhanyato yan risha amananti leelavataran purushasya bhumnaha apiyatam karna kashaya shoshan anukramishyeet iman supeshan. He's saying, Pradhanyataha. That means Lord's incarnations are numerous. So in some other place it is said, Lord's incarnations are as if they are like waves in an ocean. So, but Brahmaji is saying, but I can only speak few. Because waves are continuously coming day and night. How can we count how many waves have come? So similarly, Lord's incarnations are also as numerous as number of waves. But he is saying, but I will tell only which are very prominent. And he's saying Leela Avataran. So these are all Leela Avataras which he's going to describe in the next chapter, in this chapter, 7th chapter. Purushasya Bhumnaha. And we may ask, suppose if we hear this Leela Avataras, what is the benefit for us? He's saying Apiyatam Karna Kashaya Shoshan. Karna Kashaya. Now, recently, Ganesh Chaturthi is going to come. And it is said Ganesha's ears are so big, and that means he can hear a lot, and his mouth is hidden. That means he speaks less, but he hears more. But unfortunately, the devotees of Ganesh, especially in Kali Yuga, they make him hear all Bollywood songs, and they play such loud songs. Unfortunately, Ganesha is a devotee of Lord Narasimhadev, and he would like to always chant and hear glories of Lord. But they are filling foul substance into the ears. But here it is said, Apiya Karna Kashaya Shoshan. So instead of filling one's ears with all negative foul substance, one should fill with this Leelavatara's glories. And which he is saying, Anukramishye Iman Supeshan. He is going to describe one after another. So that means we have an opportunity to either hear Krishna Katha or we have an opportunity to hear any materialistic talk. But if we can lend our ear to transcendental subject matter, it removes the kashaya of the heart. So there is a contamination in the heart of desire for material enjoyment and desire for sense gratification, which Hamsavatara is going to say also. So that kashaya, it is going to get dried up. So that's what is being described in this shloka. So we are discussing in this 19th chapter. So here it is said, Lord is coming as Hamsavatara. So we might see Hamsas not in especially cities. And we see usually Hamsas in where there are mountain sides, where there are lakes, where there are rivers, and sometimes where there are oceans also. Very huge Hamsas are visible. And Hamsas, the one very special quality of Hamsa, even great pure devotees are also called as Hamsa. The only reason is Hamsa's nature is if we give a mixture of water and milk to a Hamsa, and it knows how to only extract milk, leaving aside the water, what is there inside. So that means it can extract water and it can extract milk separately. It can make both of them separate, and it can only drink milk. So that is the nature of Hamsa. And Hamsa can actually do it in such a perfect way, it will not get contaminated. So in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter also, Sri Krishna is saying, Padma Patra Ivambhasa. So that Pankaja, that lotus is called as lotus because Pankaja, it is called as, so it is taking birth from mud, but actually it is remaining pure. So similarly, a devotee remains pure even though he is in amidst of sometimes contaminated environment. He remains himself. He secures his own bhakti. Many times we see devotees, when they go into a negative association, immediately their color also changes, or their nature also changes. They give up bhakti and they become affected by the negative environment. So here we can see a devotee means he exhibits the quality of lotus. So that's why Lord, when he is from his navel, when lotus is coming, Brahmaji is taking birth. At that time, there is one shloka. I would just recite. Uh, Here it is said, Pura Maya Proktam Ajayana Nam. This is 3:4:13. It says, Puran Maya Proktam Ajayanabhye Padme Nishannaya Mamadi Sarge Gnanam Param Man Mahima Avabhasam Yat Suryo Bhagavatam Vadanti. So here also Bhagavatam word is coming. So Lord is saying, when he came as Hamsavatara, at that time he spoke Bhagavatam, and the same Bhagavatam he also spoke. He is saying, when Brahmaji was sitting on the lotus, at that time from the lotus came Brahmaji, and he revealed his own pastimes. He's saying, Gnanam Param Man Mahima Avabhasam. He's saying, I gave my own Gnana. And this great souls call it as Bhagavatam. So this is what he's saying. So now, when did this Hamsavatara appear? Many times, here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in this shloka, he's saying there are two Hamsavataras which came. This Hamsavatara, which he spoke to Narada Muni. So that Narada Muni, he spoke about Bhakti Yoga. This is what he's saying. And to Sanakadi Rishis, he gave the knowledge of Gnana. He spoke the knowledge of Brahma Tattva. So he is saying that Lord as Hamsa, he is pleased by, here it is mentioned, Vivriddha Bhavena. So he is saying to, Brahmaji is saying to Narada Muni that when were doing Bhakti Yoga, Lord was so much pleased with your devotional service that he appeared as this Hamsavatara, and he gave this knowledge of he's saying Yogam, Gnanam, and then Bhagavatam, which is Atma Satatva Deepam. So these three things which Hamsavatara gave. Yoga means he gave Bhakti Yoga. And Gnana means he's saying the knowledge about his own self. And Atma Satatva Deepam, that knowledge which can remove ignorance. These three knowledge which Hamsavatara gave. But in 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there also an Hamsavatara description is going to come. There, the knowledge is being given by Hamsavatara to Brahmaji and Sanakadi Rishis. So that and this are little different. That's what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. So we will just discuss what is there in the purport of what Srila Prabhupada has written. Prabhupada is saying Bhakti and Bhakta, they have correlation. So that means a devotional service. Whenever a devotee offers any devotional service, Lord is pleased by the devotion and not just by the external form of service. So I happened to read Sudama's pastime. There, very wonderful shloka comes. Sudama was very much he was satisfied whatever he had, whatever Lord had given him. Sudama was satisfied, but wife was thinking, my husband is doing so much of austerity, and my children, they are also so much suffering because of hunger and thirst. So now let my husband go and ask, because Supreme Lord is only his friend. So why not he go and ask Supreme Lord some benediction? Because Supreme Lord is Lakshmipati, and we don't even have proper house to reside. We have become like Roadpati now, and now if we have association and friendship of that Supreme Lord, and why can't we go and just ask? And so this is what wife was thinking. Wife is also selfless. Wife is thinking, if Sudama can go and ask Supreme Lord, and she is thinking not for herself, she's thinking of welfare of children and husband. So there, very wonderful shloka comes when he is going in front of Lord. Lord is saying this shloka. So here it is said, Kim upayanam anitam brahman me bhavata grihat anvapi upahritam bhaktaihi premna bhuryeva me bhavet bhuryapi aho abhaktopahritam name toshaya kalpate. Very wonderful shloka. He's saying, O Brahmana, O Sudama, what have you brought for me? He's asking, you have come all the way from your home and you have come just to meet me. See, this is one nature of a devotee, that when he comes to meet Supreme Lord or comes to take darshan of Supreme Lord, he doesn't come empty handed. He wants to bring something to the Lord. That's why when Prabhupada was there in New York, San Francisco, Prabhupada would tell devotees that whenever you come to the temple, bring something to offer to the Supreme Lord. If not, at least if you're not able to bring something very great, we can bring according to our capacity. At least we can bring some flower. At least we can bring some fruit. So, but we should, if we have a heart of bringing, that's what is appreciated. So now this Brahmana also, he is coming to meet Supreme Lord. So he has brought just chipped rice. Now he doesn't have anything great to give. Now his wife, that true, this is not from his own home. He asked some neighbor and he has brought this. And now Lord is saying, what have you brought for me? Anvapi upahritam bhaktaihi. Lord is saying, even if a devotee has brought just anu means he has not brought anything very significant. He has brought something very insignificant. But anuvapi upahritam bhaktaihi. But if it is brought by a devotee, ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಭಕ್ತರು ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಂದಿದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪನೇ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ರು, if he has brought just very little, but if it is premna bhuryeva me bhavet, but it is filled with prema, it is filled with so much of devotion, then bhuryapi aho, then Lord is saying, because it is brought with devotion, I accept it, upahritam. But he's saying, but if a person is very rich, but he is not a devotee, abhakta, if he is abhakta, even if he has brought very great gift, Lord is saying, name toshaya kalpate, I will not accept it and I will not be satisfied. So we can see an example of Duryodhana. Duryodhana was inviting Supreme Lord for his own home, and he was asking, please come and honor lunch at our home. At that time, Lord says, I can accept food in two houses, on two conditions. He says, one is, if I am hungry, if I am very hungry, then I can go and take food wherever it is available. And second thing he says, the devotee is inviting me with love. If there is some love which is there, that time I can come, or I can come if I am hungry. But I am always Atmaram. I cannot, I do not suffer with any material hunger. What to speak of even Lord, even devotees, those are exalted, liberated souls, they also do not suffer from material hunger. It is said, when a devotee becomes very much advanced, he overcomes these 6 conditions which are put by material energy. That is material hunger, thirst, lamentation, and distress. Like this, so many things. Like this, a devotee can overcome everything. Now, but Lord is saying, I am Atmaram. I do not have to go. And neither do you have love. Duryodhana, you are calling me, but you are calling me with some evil motive, evil intention. So why should I come and accept? So now here, a very wonderful Lord is saying, I regard as great even the smallest gift offered by my devotees in pure love. But even great offerings presented by non-devotees do not please me. And the next shloka, you may be surprised. This shloka is the same shloka which Lord has spoken in Bhagavad Gita. So all of you can recite. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyupahritam ashnami prayatatmanah. Lord is saying, I accept patram pushpam phalam toyam. Even these things I accept if it is offered by my devotee. But if it is not offered by devotion, I do not accept any of these things. So Prabhupada's purport, it is not written by Prabhupada, but it is written by his disciples. I'll just read one part of the purport and then we'll go to Hamsa Avatar. He is saying, the use of the words bhaktya prayachati, bhakti upahritam may seem redundant, but bhaktya can indicate how the Lord reciprocates the devotional mood of whoever offers him something with love. In other words, Lord Krishna here declares that his reciprocation in a pure loving exchange is not dependent on the external quality of what is offered. Many times we may become a little depressed that I am not able to offer the quality which I am supposed to offer. Now, because according to the kind of situation that we are being put in, many times we may not be able to offer the quality with which we are able to offer. Sanatan Goswami was not able to offer salt. And Lord is also asking, why don't you give me salt? And Sanatan Goswami is saying that if I give you salt now, ಇವ ತುಪ್ಪ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ ನಾಳೆ ತುಪ್ಪ ಕೇಳ್ತೀರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ so today you are asking salt, tomorrow you are going to ask me ghee, and where will I get ghee, and where will I get anything else for you? So he's saying that be satisfied with whatever I am giving. Lord is saying, no, I am satisfied if it is offered with devotion. So Sanatana Goswami is saying, be satisfied. But Sanatana Goswami, when there was an opportunity, one of the merchant had come, and for that merchant he told, you build a big temple. Now this Madan Mohan temple is considered to be the landmark of entire Vrindavan. Now that temple Sanatana Goswami could construct with the help of devotees, like that. So now we are discussing about Hamsa Avatar, and this Hamsa Avatar is saying that he spoke these three knowledges about Bhakti Yoga, about Bhagavat Tattva, and also about Atma Satatva Deepam. That means the knowledge which can remove ignorance from the heart. So all these things he spoke. So now about Bhakti Yoga, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayatyashu Vairagyam Gnanam Chayad Ahaitukam. He's saying, when one understands about Bhakti Yoga, naturally the Gnana will come. That Gnana includes Gnana of the Supreme Lord and also Gnana of the material world by which the Jiva is bound in the clutches. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, I'll just read. So, the Lord spoke Bhakti Yoga to Narada and not impersonal Gnana. That is mentioned in Vishnu Dharmottara. It is saying, Yadatvam sanakadibhyo yena rupena keshava yogam madishtavan yetad rupam ichchami veditum. He's saying, I gave this knowledge of Bhakti Yoga to him. I did not give impersonal Gnana. Many times we may think Supreme Lord's knowledge as those who are Mayavadis or those who are Brahmavadis, they will only want to know how to get out of the material world. Sometimes they are not interested in knowing about the Supreme Lord. But here it is mentioned that Tubhyam Cha, he is saying he gave this knowledge to you, Narada. Narada is Bhakti avatar of Supreme Lord. So he came to give this knowledge of bhakti to everyone else. So he gave, Hamsavatara gave this knowledge of bhakti yoga to him. That's what is mentioned. Now, Hamsavatara, when he came, what knowledge did he give? That we'll try to understand to some extent. We may not be able to discuss everything, but I will just discuss what knowledge did this Hamsavatara give. So this is the same question which Uddhava asks Krishna. There is an 11th canto. He's saying, "Oh my dear Keshava, at what time and in what form did you instruct the science of yoga to Sanaka and his brothers? I desire to know these things." I am just reading so that we all can hear directly from Bhagavatam and we can hear directly from the mouth of Lord. So he is saying, Supreme Lord is speaking. Putra Hiranyagarbhasya Manasaha Sanakadayah Pap-pruchu Pitaram Sukshmam Yogasya Aikantikim Gatim. So once this happened so that Brahmaji's sons, his mental sons, those sons which were born from the mind of Brahma, they all, who are the sons born from mind? Chatushkumaras, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sananda, Sanat Kumara, like this. So they all asked once his father. Very, very important question they asked, which is very difficult for anybody to understand. This question even bewildered Brahmaji. Can you imagine? Brahmaji's whole body is made of intelligence. And that too, he is not an ordinary person. Even this question bewildered even Brahmaji. Now, what is that question? Sanakadaya uchuhu Guneshva avishate cheto gunas chetasi cha prabho katham anyonya santyago mumukshor ati titirshoho. Here is saying Guneshva avishate chetah. That means mind, in our mind, gunaha, guneshu avishate. The three modes are entering our mind. Many times we see, we go into any functions, celebrations, or any materialistic ceremonies. At that time, just if we enter into those arena, immediately we can see the whole flood of materialistic thoughts, materialistic vibrations they enter, and it generates so many material desires in our heart. So that means modes have influenced our mind. That means modes have disturbed our consciousness. The same thing when we come into a temple, and at that time when there is a very wonderful kirtan that is going on, very wonderful abhishekam of Lord, as soon as we enter temple, even those vibrations also enter. So now he's saying Guneshva avishate chetah gunas chetasi cha prabho. And the sense objects are entering the mind, and mind is entering into the sense object. So katham anyonya santyago. So how a person who is desiring liberation, how can he destroy this relationship? So this is the question which Chatushkumaras are asking Brahmaji. Now, how to destroy this mutual relationship between sense objects and the mind? Very, very tough question for a person who is conditioned. But for a person who is liberated, it is very easy to even understand. But many times a person who is liberated, even if he explains, one who is conditioned cannot understand it. So that is the nature of now, very amazingly, Supreme Lord is speaking. Yevam prushto Mahadevaha Swayambhur Bhuta Bhavanah Dhyayamana Prashna Bijam Nabhapatyata Karmadhihi. Amazingly, he is saying, Lord Brahma himself, who is Swayambhu. Swayambhu means Swayambhu, that person who is taken birth directly from the Supreme Lord. He has taken birth from Supreme Lord, but still his he has got bewildered by this question of about relationship between the sense objects and the mind. That means very beautiful purport is being mentioned here. I'll just come to this reading. He's saying Jayamanaha Prashna Bijam. This question has bewildered even Brahmaji. The intelligence of Brahma is actually very high level, but still that intelligence is bewildered. Please try to understand this. Here is saying, see how many times Srila Jiva Goswami has quoted 3 shlokas. He is saying in 9th chapter 32 shloka. See, yeah, here is saying when Lord Supreme Lord spoke Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, at that time Lord Brahmaji had asked one question. I am going to do creation, but it is I may get bewildered by, and I may become puffed up, and I may become very much proud, and I may get affected by this process of creation, and I may forget you, and I may get entangled. So kindly bless me so that I will not get entangled. So that means this is one time which Lord had blessed Brahmaji. And also, Brahmaji himself says that he will rigidly carry out Lord's injunctions and affirm, and he gives a promise that he will not get bewildered by in his cosmic creation. And one more shloka he says, Supreme Lord, I have caught hold Supreme Lord's lotus feet in my heart, because of which whatever I speak will never become false, and whatever I do also will not become false. So that means even though Brahmaji has made all these promises, so still he has got bewildered. So there, Prabhupada's disciples, they are making one amazing statement. In the present verse, in the 13th chapter of 11th canto, Lord Krishna states that Brahma unfortunately did become bewildered. That means Brahmaji was actually bewildered by his creative functions, thus providing a grave lesson to all of the Lord's empowered representatives. That means many times we may be representing Supreme Lord, but if we are not careful, we may also become bewildered. Although one may be elevated to an exalted position in the Lord's transcendental service, at any moment there is a danger of false pride polluting one's devotional mentality. So like this, Brahmaji was also bewildered. And there Hamsa Guhya, there Hamsa gives a very elaborate instructions to Brahmaji, and also he gives instructions to all Sanakadi Rishis, just so that their illusion is destroyed, their doubts are destroyed. That's what Lord speaks in this entire chapter. So it's time up, and there are a few more things which we could discuss, but you all can try reading this 11th canto 13th chapter, where Hamsavatara is removing the illusion of Sanakadi Rishis and also of Brahmaji. So by which we can understand how we ourselves also should remain detached, even though we are doing service, even while we are doing so many devotional activities, but we should remain disinterested, we should remain disconnected from material energy. So that's what is being mentioned here. And I would like to also seek prayers and blessings so that I can follow whatever I'm speaking. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत पुराण की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।